What is up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be revealing how this store basically did $1,000 in a week. For this store, I literally sat back and relaxed. I didn't put that much work into it just because I was testing something new. Because I realized the profit margins in e-commerce are very low. I was trying to see if I can maximize the profit margins with the least stress possible. Basically, this store did $963 in 7 days, and I actually only spent $300 on ads, and my cost of goods were as low as it can get. And I did this while being in school, having track practice after school, and having boxing classes after school. And I still had enough time to go to the gym. So I'm gonna break this down day by day. The first day of this product test, I did $164 in revenue, which is not that much, but keep in mind, I actually didn't even spend that much. If we go to the ad account here, which got restricted, I'll talk about that later on. I spent on the 9th only $27 on this product. This means I had a 5x ROAS, return on ad spend. It gets more interesting because it was consistent like this throughout the whole test. I will be putting the profit margin and all the details up on the screen. E-commerce is actually really fun and great if everything is happening good and there's no issues. Because if I go to the next day, March 10th, we did $224 in revenue, and we did not even spend that much money. I was basically giving money to Facebook ads and they were returning like at least triple. I recently found a supplier that gave me the cost a lot lower than the average than other competitors. To be honest, I was surprised how low he gave them. This was crucial to the test because it made everything easier and more smoother, because instead of giving the money to the product, I was giving it to the ads, and the ads were returning a lot of money back. All the pieces were coming in together because even the cost of goods are pretty low. Enough yapping. On March 10th, I spent $64, which means I had a profitable return on investment. $64 and having 220 and more in revenue is actually pretty decent. And to be honest, it was surprisingly consistent throughout the test. On March 11th, on a random Tuesday, I did $139. We had a small drop, but that was fine because we actually didn't even spend that much on ads that day. And if you include mean reversion, something that Facebook and TikTok ads and basically all ads platform like to do to people like me, is one days they give a good return on investment and one days they give a bad return on investment. So there's always a fluctuation like this. So this is pretty normal. This is a normal mean reversion. And then if you go to the ad account on March 11th, on Tuesday, we spent $69. Not that much. It was a bad day for this test, to be honest. And on our bad days, we were still above break even because our cost of goods are actually still pretty low, like I said. And if you check on the next day, we did $145, slightly better than the other day. Now you may be asking, why didn't I scale harder? The reason is I actually did not want to, because when you scale harder, payment processing issues are bound to happen. Other issues like ad account issues, which did happen later on, are bound to happen. And I actually didn't want to deal with this considering I had low capital for this test. So my thought process was actually a different approach this time. I was just experimenting different things. The whole point of this test on purpose was to do low scale, high profit margins, because to scale as hard as you can, you need teams, you need your backend set up, you need everything set up perfectly. And if you don't, you're gonna scale and you're just gonna actually lose. So for this next day, we spent, on March 12th, we spent $52. This is pretty decent. So our ad structure consisted of CBOs and ABOs. You may be asking, why was I doing ABOs if we all know that CBOs are better? And they are better. But because this was such a low scale, it actually does not affect whether I do a CBO or an ABO, because at this scale, it doesn't affect if the ad account is competing against each other, since it's truly not. It's only spending $50 to $60 a day. So if I check on the ad set level, as you can see here, we had a bunch of ABOs here. We tried some CBOs before, but the ABOs turned out to be better because of such a low spend. But basically, I found the winning creatives. It was a batch of like 4. I cycled new creatives to see if there were more winners because of creative fatigue. You don't want to have creative fatigue because if you use the same creatives, creative fatigue will basically make them have less return on investment over time because the people keep on seeing the same creative. So this is why I need new creatives all the time. But once again, my ad structure was basically a few ABOs with the winning creatives, and I didn't even care about scaling because I was only spending $28 per each ad set. You might be asking, why does it say account disabled? Basically, my ad account faced an issue where it got banned on the 7th day, which I later on switched ad accounts. That's what I'm doing right now, but I will not reveal what I'm doing right now until next video. And at this spend, I actually believe ABOs do better, but this does not mean do ABOs. I actually recommend CBOs, which I tried, but I felt like at this spend, it was easier to manage since it is such a low scale. So the test was actually going pretty well, but we did not run ads on the next day. So I'm gonna be skipping to March 14th because we were facing ad account issues that led me to just pause my ads for that day and start on Friday. So we did $209 on Friday on March 14th. This was closer to the end of the test. And if you check on our spending, we spent on March 14th $49, which means we had a 4 and more X ROAS, return on ad spend, for that day, which is really decent. And the profit margin was above 30% pretty much throughout the whole test and without putting that much time, and there wasn't really that much stress involved because at this scale you can literally not touch the ad account and be printing a few dollars online. And I'm actually pretty sure this was the last day of the test, but this wasn't my last sale, because if I go to March 16th, we actually got a sale because someone still remembered that they saw this product the other day and they came back to buy because this product was printing. So in summary, throughout the whole test from the 9th to the 16th, we did $963. And then if I go to my ad account from the 9th to the 16th, we spent $305, which isn't that much considering we had above a 3x ROAS. So I'll put the profit margin on the screen, and keep in mind my break-even ROAS was 1.3. And to confirm, on March 16th, we actually didn't even spend a single cent. As you can see, we spent $0 that day, but we still had a sale. This is why I really like e-commerce, because you can get sales without advertising once the customer knows your store and they actually like what you're selling. So in my opinion, the best thing to do was just to do a low scale test with a good product and have a good profit margin. But basically, we did a decent amount of internet money without doing too much. Subscribe and turn on the notifications, because in the next video I might review the website and the product. I really don't think you want to miss out on that, but this video is done, guys.